Is the iPhone 5C worth it in 2020? Let's find out.
So the iPhone 5C was released back in 2013 as Apple's budget phone. Now the question is it still usable in 2020? And can you use this as your daily driver? Well, let's start off with the display. The display of the iPhone 5C is a 4-inch 1136 by 640 IPS LCD display. Uses Apple's Retina quality, and it's pretty good. It's really not the best display out there on the market, but for an LCD that's a little less than 720p, it's pretty good. It produces pretty rich colors, and again, it uses Apple's Retina technology. And I think Apple makes some of the best LCD displays in the business. Now, it's not 1080p, but it is better than the 720p LG Aristo 2 display. If you haven't seen that review, it's right. I'll put it up right somewhere on the screen, so you can watch that video. But it does have a better display, in my opinion, than the 720p LG display. So let's talk about performance. Now, the performance on this phone is pretty good. Now, first of all, let's go through the specs of the performance. It has the Apple A6 processor in it with 1 gig of RAM. And that might sound really ridiculous in 2020, but again, this performs really good. It opens apps fast, and it's definitely usable. It's not the quickest. It's not going to be as quick as the iPhone 11, but it is quick and can get the job done. And it will blaze through a lot of things because, again, it's not powering a high resolution display. Again, this is 720p, and it's 4 inches, so it doesn't have to push as many pixels as a lot of mainstream phones today. So again, it's a blast to use, and it's really quick. For the good of this phone. Now let's start to get into the downsides of this phone, and it's probably one that you already know or you can see right now, and it's that the fact that the phone is made out of plastic. Now, again, this is a pretty high quality plastic, but it is plastic nonetheless. And this is pretty much one of the biggest drawbacks, I believe, in the 5C and why it failed. If you want to see that video, that should be going up in a couple days on why the iPhone 5C failed. So stay tuned for that video. But I believe that the plastic build in this phone is the reason why it failed to begin with. I really have nothing against plastic built phones. The LG I reviewed earlier in the month had a plastic back. A lot of budget ended phones have a plastic back. But again, when this came out, this wasn't much cheaper than the iPhone 5C, which was released in the same year. It was only $100 cheaper than the iPhone 5Z. And the iPhone 5C had an aluminum black back. So again, it doesn't make this much good value when you can just go ahead and pick up an iPhone 5C for the same price on the used market today. But again, this is a pretty high quality plastic, so you shouldn't have to worry about any scratches or whatnot. Now, another downside of this device is the battery. The battery on this device is a 1510 milliamp hour, and it's terrible. Now, it's not the worst battery on the planet. It'll give you some use, a couple hours of use, but nothing that I would say means good battery life. Like, you're not going to get through a full day of use using this phone. You're going to have to charge later in the day or even midday if you're a heavy user. The battery on this phone is, in other words, trash. Let's talk about the cameras. Now, this has one camera, so we're not looking at telephoto or ultra wide or depth sensor, because this is 2013, remember. So one camera sensor. It is a 8 megapixel camera, and it takes decent pictures, I believe. Now, again, it's not the best camera on the planet, but it definitely isn't that bad. I believe the pictures I've taken on this phone are no means really bad. Now, this was just a point and shoot I took with it. My hand was a bit shaky, but Again, it's not bad by any means. I believe you get some detail in the device, but again, it's not the best camera at all. Another downside of this smartphone is that it uses the iPhone 5's processor, not the iPhone 5's S processor. So that means you're going to be stuck on iOS 10, which is by no means a bad software, but it's not iOS 14. Definitely not iOS 13 or 12 or even 11. You're going to be stuck with iOS 10. Now, iOS 10 is not bad, but it's not the newest software. And with apps starting to require iOS 12 and newer, you're going to have problems with app support. Now, the majority of apps still run on iOS 10 perfectly fine, so you shouldn't have to worry about that. But that's just something to mention, that not all apps will be working on iOS 10.
Is the iPhone 5C worth it in 2020? Well, I would say no. And here's why. So you have a great phone. This is definitely usable for the average user. If you're just a casual user and you're not a hardcore user, you can usually browse Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, play a couple games, take some photos, even use Snapchat. This would be great for that. But the lackluster software support, meaning that it's only on iOS 10, the terrible camera, the bad battery life, and not really having the app support that you should be having is the reason why I'm going to not recommend this phone in 2020. Again, it's definitely usable, but for the casual user and the average user will not want this phone. So that being said, thank you for watching this video. Subscribe for more. Don't forget to hit that bell icon so you get notified when I make a new video. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.